We're in Fiji. We're going to Brando's Island, which is Google it. It's a magnificent place. And we're sitting in Fiji at the hotel, something or other, and everybody's like this, wearing loincloths. And I have an appointment with a guy, like I see people, and the guy's about 10 minutes late. And he comes walking up, and he's in a loincloth, and he's perspiring, sweating. He's like, I'm so sorry. The tide was against me, Mr. Peña, and I'm late. Do I have time to go change? I said, no, we'll just sit here. Of course, none of the staff of this hotel wanted him to sit there. So they came and brought him a towel, and he sat there. He said, what do you mean the tide changed? He had 200 miles canoe, 200 miles. And he said the tide was against me today. And I mean, I've been on that tide all my life, and it's never been this way, but today it was 200 miles. He is successfully rolling up leisure deals in that paradise here. 200 fucking miles. Lord asked in this room would walk 3 blocks. Now some of you don't have the physical capability to walk 3 blocks, but I know none of you could canoe 200 miles. And that's how you hire, and you're able to fire these people at will. Because money talks and bullshit walks. Yeah. Bless you. In today's modern world, you have 5 to 10 benchmarks that the supervisor grades them on. And then the supervisor's supervisor, because like he said, dentists don't want to grade people poorly because they're soft. But then the big supervisor over them, could negate when the dentist graded everybody 5. And there's modern ways to do that. I didn't do any of that. If the exploration division made us $300 million, I gave a $30 million bonus to exploration. There's about 2,500 people. I don't know how much that fucking worked out to, but everybody got money, including this asshole to flew my plane around, like fucking getting blowjobs in my fucking plane when I'm not there. Little shit. And I remember the little shit. He was always real nice to our oldest son. Well, when are you going on vacation? Of course, now these dots connect. Okay, so now you know how to hire them, fire them, and pay them. Now all you got to do is lead them, which isn't easy. It's a motherfucker. You've heard just about everybody say it, but there's not many pieces left in the puzzle. Any questions about any of the things that we've covered here before? Yeah.
In the death roll-ups, are there licenses that are required? In the death roll-up, are there any licenses that are required?
Yeah, but they probably already got them. You can't build crematoriums anymore. They're against the law because of the leakage of the shit, the ashes. And if you think your mama or daddy or sister that got cremated wasn't cremated with Fido, because most crematoriums are dual purpose. And they say they scrub them clean before they burn the animals, but they don't scrub them. But there was an original license, and you can't, just like you can't build a golf course anymore. There are no permits being given for golf courses anymore, unless somebody bribes somebody. And cemeteries, you can't build cemeteries anymore. And that's why they started switching them years and years ago from this kind to this kind. Because in a cemetery like this, you can get 7 or 8 boxes standing on its end. So those permits, just all you have to do is check if they're current. Yep.
Is building cemeteries worldwide or just in the United States?
In the United States, Europe. I don't know about Mexico. They don't give a shit. South America, they don't give a shit. It's this new thing. I think I told you. They come up with this new way to make petroleum out of seaweed, where you get 9 million miles of the gallon, some bullshit. If you mix it with 2 or 3 chemicals. What they don't tell you is to grow the seaweed is 6 times more expensive. That's why this global warming is all shit. Of course, I'm to the extent that I'm an environmentalist, we shouldn't be killing off the whales and all these endangered species. I believe in that. Should we change the world and turn it upside down to save them? In my opinion, no. And the Greenpeace and all these guys, which Scotland has a big party. I'm sure we're not supportive of my political endeavors. Okay, so any questions about hiring, firing? And I already told you, don't get involved with companies that have anything from anybody. Yep.
During Corona, cities like Seattle, Portland, and many others were demolished by riots. Do you have any good stories to share about anybody going and doing QLA to pick up businesses or?
Well, I told you about the one when Katrina came through, and a bunch of my guys went down there with $2-3 million in cash and bought up a bunch of underwater houses for $5, $50, with a thing called a quick claim deed. Unfortunately for them, but irony and karma, the water's still 8 feet deep. So all the money that my kids spent trying to whore, rape the poor Katrina victims was lost. When they asked me, did I want to be part of that, I said no. There's a level at which that I'm not a bottom sucker. And those guys lost a lot of money. And I hear that, those houses are never going to be. In other words, the money they gave them, they'll never recoup it and develop it. But I mean, there's rioting in Paris. There's rioting all over the place. And there's certain places that you shouldn't riot. The French police beat the shit out of you. The Australians beat you if you don't wear a mask for Corona. And California is turned into a garbage pit. You know, I told you that in Beverly Hills, you're told not to wear, not big jewelry, any kind of jewelry, even the cheap shit you guys have, because you get knocked in the head. 40% of the people in Beverly Hills carry guns now. Everybody. And that's a recipe because not everybody knows what to do with a gun. In Seattle and Portland, they're rioting. People, street people are starting to be called. Are in Los Angeles, Chicago, in New York. They're running into stores and just rioting. The police watching there, pulling out shit because you can't get arrested or convicted unless you steal something more than $2,000. Homeless, people are shitting and living on the streets. When you used to walk down Fifth Avenue in the old days, and I used to live on Fifth Avenue after I moved from, remember my office was one rock left. I mean, a beautiful area, and I used to sleep in the office. My chairman didn't like that because he thought that we should have enough money for you to have an apartment, but I slept in the office. So I like to sleep in one rock. But the homeless people, and you hit somebody homeless or you do some damage to them, I mean, I don't care if they hit you first, and it's awful. You go on the trains. API posted a deal late last year. 86% of the people, there was a rape on the number 2 train that goes out in Manhattan. And there were 40-some people that watched a 41-year-old woman get raped in front of them while the train was moving. Nobody pulled the cord. And the 85% of them took pictures of the rape that didn't help them. And it's spreading. When I said 40 years ago, madman, I mean, you realize how much they laughed at me? Remember that first slide on the second day when me and 9 million people were out there and I'm telling everybody they're wrong? I knew it. Now my dad, this may or may not be on YouTube, in 1954, about the time that I was shitting my pants, there was a commercial that came on NBC. Used to have the big eagle feathers, turkey feathers, and it was feminine hygiene product. And my dad and I were sitting there one of the few times he's home, and we were eating a TV dinner. I still remember TV dinner. And my mother's waddling around in the kitchen, being a housewife. And my dad says, Amy, get your ass out here. And the commercial was feminine hygiene product. My dad said, this is the beginning of the end of humankind. That's what he said, 1954-55. This is the beginning of about 15, 20 years later, I'm someplace and I'm watching the commercial. It showed how women use tampons, how they use, and I was in Chicago. Anyway, I run my dad down and I called him and told him, Dad, the other shoe dropped. He goes, And then he didn't see that commercial for 3 or 4 days. Then he called me and he said, what did I tell you? And then he didn't remember exactly. Was it 46 or 56 I told you? It was about 56, Dad. And then now they have commercials where there's an Irish girl sitting on a toilet, like this, good-looking Irish girl, red hair, and she says, and she's got her pajamas pulled down over her thing, and she pulls out not a Tampax, but a thing where when you have a period, you're catching the blood, and they show her taking a shower, and the blood falling from her legs on the fucking shower floor, and she's sitting on the toilet with this thing, and she says, fills it up with water, and says, you don't have to worry about sleeping. Sally, get in here. Get your fat ass in here. God damn, my dad. I mean, why? Now, funny enough, 7 or 8 years ago, our daughter at one of the big companies was marketing manager for feminine hygiene products. And I almost had a heart attack. Daddy, and she says 47% of the money spent by women. And she went through all these stats, which I'm sure are true. And I said, but Jesus Christ, can you just imagine what I think of when I see this? We don't care what you think, Daddy. She says, you're not our market. She says, most men, when I come on, either flip the channel or go get a beer. I don't flip the fucking channel. I watch it. None of that's not right. On so many levels, I can't even explain it. But that's where we are. And that's why QLA works. And that's why it works. But I didn't think I'd live long for it to work this way. I didn't think. I've never underestimated how long I've been right about a lot of stuff. More stuff than you can believe. But I didn't think that it would be. It can't get any easier. It can't. And Sally says, just as you say it can't, Dan, it will. And then she said, under her breath, as we're walking back last night, did you take a good hard look at him, Dan? I know what you're talking about. Take a good hard look. It's time to exit. Sayonara, motherfucker. Because about the time the lines cross, when you're so pathetic, you can't even pull your dick out to take a piss. it's going to be the best for QLA. And you're going to have slobber running down your thing like this, and you'll be in one of those lower level assisted living homes. Because you will have passed up the extra benefits of the death row. Somebody you had your hand up, sir.
Yes, Mr. Peña. Did you want to expand on leadership today?
The ship.
Leadership.
Yeah, but I got off in too many. We're going to do it tomorrow morning, leadership. But I mean, I got a couple minutes. If you can all get a general, I'd do it, or an admiral. I've never said that to you. But you need somebody to understand. It's like the Viking bitch chairman said, we don't use the word afraid. And you heard Adelaide, the Australian, say, words matter. His board says, do you think we're going to get the money? We're going to get the money. Words matter. And I correct people all the time at the board level. I still sit on a number of boards. But I correct it in a harsh way, because now, non-harsh, you're supposed to criticize in private, praise in public. Well, that's old hat. That's 80, 90 shit. I embarrass in public, because that's the only way that I've learned the last 5 or 10 or 12 years to evoke permanent, lasting change, because I shame you into it, which is the antithesis of the modern management style. I shame you. And it's not effective with everybody, but it's pretty fucking effective, otherwise I wouldn't do it. 30 years ago, I didn't have to shame you. You were already ashamed because you had to come to the seminar because you hadn't accomplished what you knew you should accomplish, i.e. be all you can be. But now, and by definition, I know when you use this for creating generational wealth, it will affect all aspects of your life. When you stop going to the funerals and you stop going to weddings and you stop doing a lot of stuff, and guys don't shop that, but I mean, you stop doing all this shit and you focus. Remember, I said the first day, those who get laser beam focused first, stay laser beam focused longest, win the most. And as Peter said, because he's been here 3 times, he's in contact with a lot of people. The Viking bitch has been here 3 times. She's in touch with a lot of people. Plus, she met a bunch of people in Omaha, blah, blah, blah. And the Viking bitch doesn't need any self-fulfilling, validation. Peter doesn't, but him telling you, if you listen carefully, I see all these guys, and he knows a lot of guys that have created generational wealth since 2016. And he has. Now, I won't say he's the least likely, but he's one of the least likely to ever do this. He's just a regular guy. But he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't give up. When that first speed bump that looks like Mount Everest you come up against, whenever that is, and you think, the first time, and you shouldn't ask yourself, can I really do this? Some of you are already questioning, can I really do this? I'm this, I'm that, I'm in this part of the country, I'm that part of the country, this part of the world, that part of the world. The answer is yes, because we've accomplished it in all parts of the world. Some are just harder. And a final note, we're in Fiji. We're going to Brando's Island, which is Google it. It's a magnificent place. And we're sitting in Fiji at the hotel, something or other, and everybody's like this, wearing loincloths. And I have an appointment with a guy, like I see people, and the guy's about 10 minutes late. And he comes walking up, and he's in a loincloth, and he's perspiring, sweating. He's, I'm so sorry. The tide was against me, Mr. Peña, and I'm late. Do I have time to go change? He said, no, we'll just sit here. Of course, none of the staff at this hotel went in to sit there. So they came and brought him a towel, and he sat there. He said, what do you mean the tide changed? He had 200 miles canoe, 200 miles. And he said, the tide was against me today. And I mean, I've been on that tide all my life, and it's never been this way, but today it was 200 miles. He is successfully rolling up leisure deals in that paradise area. 200 fucking miles. Lard ass in this room would walk 3 blocks. Now, some of you don't have the physical capability to walk 3 blocks, but I know none of you could canoe 200 miles. And so, he says, I've got to get out of it. And he did. That was about 10, 11 years ago. I get a card from him every other year when he acquires a new deal. Now he doesn't look like he did. Before he had about 1% body fat. And now he's got a little paunch. Success brings fat to some of us. And his kids and his wife looks, aloha. 200 fucking miles. Okay. We'll see you guys tonight. I'll see you, Justin, in a few minutes, right? Anything else, Kat? Okay, guys, see you at dinner.